So here we are, one of those stories that you just can't make up. The Virginia Commonwealth University Health has confirmed that a nurse employed by them is under investigation and under suspension after posting a series of videos online calling for violence and suggesting ways to sabotage federal law enforcement officers. Here's what we know. What we see in these videos are actual tactics encouraging people to harm ICE agents. According to VCU Health, the individual, now on administrative leave, posted multiple TikTok videos that were later deleted, but had already been widely shared before that happened. In those videos, the nurse suggested things like using syringes as scare tactics against law enforcement, weaponizing poison ivy by spraying it on people through water guns, and even spiking the drinks of ICE agents with laxatives to incapacitate them. Now, let's be very clear here. That's not activism. It's not resistance. It's not protected protest. This is criminal behavior being openly encouraged by a medical professional. Here's an example.
Are the single ladies where these ICE guys are going have a chance to do something, not without risk, but could help the cause for sure. Get on Tinder, get on Hinge, find these guys. They're around. They're an ICE agent, bring some X-Lax and put it in their drinks. Get them sick. Nobody's gonna die. Just enough to incapacitate them, get them off the street for the next day. Highly, easily deniable. You could get sick too. Won't eat there again. I'm just saying, let's get them where they eat. Somebody's not going to be supporting these guys. Where's the hotel where they eat? Who makes that breakfast? Let's find them. Let's make their lives miserable. I know we're already trying to keep them awake all night. That's good. Anything you can do to make the living conditions bad. Talk to the people who work at the places where they are. Come up with some ideas. Dead fish. Somewhere in the room hidden. Just stay toxic.
Now think about that. Think about that part for just a second. This wasn't some anonymous keyboard warrior living in a basement in their parents' home. This was a licensed nurse wearing scrubs in some of these videos, speaking from a position of trust, someone who is trained to care for people, to protect life, to do no harm. And instead, she's telling followers how to poison people, how to use medical tools as intimidation weapons, and how to sabotage law enforcement operations. That should stop every reasonable person cold. Now, VCU Health responded very quickly, appropriately. They said the content was highly inappropriate, that it does not reflect their values, and that VCU police are actively assisting in the investigation. The nurse has been placed on administrative leave and is not allowed anywhere near patients while this is reviewed. Good. That's we don't need her anywhere near anyone right now. Because look, if you're willing to talk like this online, people have every right to ask whether you can be trusted in a hospital setting, right? Now, let's zoom out for a moment. This comes amid weeks of escalating rhetoric, the protests that we've seen across the country, primarily in Minneapolis, and just outright chaos surrounding immigration enforcement, particularly ICE operations. Once again, what starts as political disagreement is being pushed towards dehumanization and violence. We've seen it before. By any means necessary, do what needs to be done, make their lives miserable. Those phrases are never harmless. They're language that lowers the moral barrier to violence. It is some ways justifies violence. Now, she wasn't finished. she had other suggestions in another video. She introduced this as today's resistance tips. She suggested poison ivy, poison oak, put it in a water gun and shoot it at them, she said. Then she suggested to her fellow medical providers to get some syringes, scare them.
Okay, for today's resistance tip, I vote, anybody got any poison ivy, poison oak in their yard? Get some of that up with gloves, obviously. Get it in some water, like a gallon of water. Get the poison ivy oak water, and I'm gonna put it into a water gun. Aim for faces, hands. Get good and wet. That might be a good, like if you're gonna do this, you're gonna be miserable and itch. The baloney on the cars that they're throwing there is a nice touch of hair, takes paint off. Sorry, I just got out of the shower and I look like a raccoon, but I thought of something good. I think it's stuff in the weird spot. Sabotage tactic, or at least scare tactic. All the medical providers, grab some syringes with needles on the end. Have them full of saline or succinylcholine, you know, whatever. That will probably be a deterrent. Be safe.
And here's where we need to say something that apparently has become controversial in modern America. We have to respect law enforcement. That doesn't mean blind obedience. It doesn't mean oversight. Doesn't mean mistakes shouldn't be investigated. But it does mean we don't normalize calls to drug officers, to poison officers, to attack them physically, especially not from people in trusted professions. ICE agents are enforcing federal law passed by the U.S. Congress. You can disagree with the law. You can work to change it. You can vote. What you can't do is encourage criminal behavior and pretend it's activism, it's peaceful protest. There's also another uncomfortable truth here. When rhetoric like this is tolerated or even quietly applauded by the left, like it often is, it puts everybody at risk. You, me, law enforcement officers, protesters, bystanders, medical professionals, patients. Once you cross the line from protest to sabotage, you don't get to control where it stops. And finally, let's talk about accountability. This investigation shouldn't just be internal. Licensing boards should take a look at this. Law enforcement should look at it. Employers should look at it. Because if someone posted videos encouraging violence against any other group, we wouldn't be debating this. Words matter, intent matters, professional responsibility matters. This is exactly why we need to slow down, get the facts, stop condemning law enforcement reflexively while excusing dangerous behavior on the other side. You can support civil liberties, public safety. You can demand accountability, reject violence. You can care about immigration reform and respect the rule of law all at the same time. Those things are not opposites. They are the foundation of a functioning society. And if we can't even agree that medical professionals shouldn't be encouraging attacks on law enforcement, then we got a much bigger problem than immigration policy. That's not left versus right. That's very simple. That's right versus wrong.